Welcome to Nerd Hurdles.
The podcast that helps you overcome your prejudices.
With snark.
Yes.
Your prejudices? All your prejudices or your geek prejudices?
Well, we decided to remove the geek
Oh, we did?
at some point.
Oh, I always say it.
And I do as well, because I forgot.
Right.
And I don't know if I ever took it off any of the graphics on the Facebook banner and stuff like that.
And what was the motivation for that?
Because we got bored of talking about nerd stuff, like superheroes and sci-fi movies and stuff.
So it was like a way to branch out?
Yeah, to give us more latitude in talking about stuff, I don't know.
It's a good thing because we were really following a strict regime.
Or we thought it would just be more, I don't know, honest is kind of a heavy word to throw at it, but yeah, it would be more indicative of...
Nerd Hurdles, the podcast that follows a strict regime.
That's right, because if we're a strict regime, we have a death squad that goes out.
We're like the Navy of podcasts.
Yeah.
The Marines.
That's right, Semper Fi. Speaking of American things, we've been watching
Scandalous.
Which is a very American show.
Television program.
It's perhaps one of the most American, not just because it focuses around like Washington, D.C., but its whole like worldview and approach to what entertainment should be. So there's just something almost obscenely American about it.
Well, and the whole theme of like the whole idea of the fixer.
Yeah, is an American construct.
Yes, very much so.
Or I guess in the American media circus, like we have in Canada as well, and they have in the UK, but it's
nowhere near the same degree, though.
You could almost only have that story in America.
I feel that's true.
And also, again, the idea of sort of the deification of the president.
Yeah.
We don't have that with the prime minister, no matter how much they try.
No matter how many articles there are about Justin Trudeau being hot.
Yeah, he's just still kind of a dorky guy. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because having watched Scandal, we were at my parents' last night and talking about the upcoming Pride Parade and how after the shooting in Orlando, like it's kind of scary to go to a huge Pride Parade, especially one that has been supposedly identified as a target.
Right.
And I said, oh, well, Justin Trudeau's going to be marching, so there's going to be increased security. And everyone just looked at me like I was crazy, and I was like, oh, right, that would only be in America.
Yeah. It'd only be flanked with the guys in dark suits and little white earphones if he was Obama.
It's so crazy. Like, probably he'll just be standing around, and people will go up and talk to him, and... yeah. No big deal.
Yeah, well, that's the way it was last time I saw him in the Pride Parade.
Well, last time he wasn't the prime minister.
I don't even know if he was officially running.
He was.
Was there?
He was the leader of the
but there was
Liberal Party.
Wasn't even an election yet. It was still years away, I think. Or maybe it was like starting. I don't know. It was very clear seeing him in that that he was going to be the next prime minister to me.
Was it the moment that girl with the like thong underwear showing jumped on him and gave him a full body tackle hug?
No, it was more that it was like he looked like a star.
Yeah.
And when Mulcair walked by, I just thought it was somebody's dad. Didn't even pay attention to him.
Yeah.
Didn't even notice him. Trudeau was like this Adonis walking down the street, and I was like, that's weird.
And people were like
yeah,
losing their shit.
Yeah. And it was like, well, no matter how much at that point I wanted Mulcair and the NDP to be victorious, it was like, yeah, it's not going to happen.
I really wanted Jack Layton to be prime minister.
Yeah.
Too bad he died.
Yeah. I really wanted Mulcair not to be a bit of a tool.
Or as my dad likes to say, a rat puss with his teeth running down his throat.
Yeah.
I don't know what that really means.
I think it's his horrible baked bean teeth smile that they made him have.
And that you can see too many of his teeth?
Yeah, because he doesn't know how to smile. It's not a natural thing for him.
He was coached.
Yeah, coached poorly.
I feel like the coaching worked better on Preston Manning than it did on...
I think it worked better on
Mulcair.
Literally probably any public figure than Mulcair. It was just a bad choice. They should have left him as angry.
Yeah, they should have left him as
Angry Tom, because that was his branding, and that's what people originally liked about him. He needed Olivia Pope to run his campaign for him.
He needed Olivia Pope to rig the election for him.
Spoiler.
I feel like you know that pretty early on, don't you? Oh, no, I guess not.
You don't, but I mean, it's kind of...
You know something's up.
Yeah, you know something's up, and I don't know. It's not like a big bombshell. Olivia Pope being the main character in Scandal. To
let people know that Olivia Pope is not a figure in Canadian politics, which I'm sure is super interesting to our listeners abroad.
Yeah, so she is created by Shonda Rhimes, who's famous for something.
What are her other things?
I don't know. Do you have your phone?
I do. You also have a large computer in front of you.
Oh, yes. You're right.
We should really know. I know I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, I know this, and I'm an asshole.
Something fairly significant that I maybe have not.
Oh, Grey's Anatomy.
Which makes sense. It's a very Grey's Anatomy-ish type show in a way. Scandal is like, it's like they took the formulas for like 9 shows and then just mashed them together in a weird way. In a way I don't really feel like works all the time.
Private Practice? I never watched that.
Like they have like lawyer show, sort of CSI, NCIS kind of espionage show, police work show, and then like sort of an Ally McBeal kind of thing that they've kind of worked in, and then a bit of House of Cards kind of thing they try to do poorly.
But what I will say, I appreciate very much the, casting that is much more diverse than other shows.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sort of...
And I don't know how much, like Shonda Rhimes is the writer, so, I don't know how much say there... I don't know if that's in the script or not.
Well, I think probably she's a producer, writer. She would have everything.
Yeah, I guess she's a producer, too.
Yeah. I think she probably doesn't... I think she only, wrote the first episode. I don't think writer shows up on any of the other episodes.
Oh, well.
She created the show, though. So she created the dynamic. But it's still pretty white. I mean, there's kind of...
It's less white than it was in the first season.
Well, they got rid of the British guy.
Yeah, I don't like him. He was British?
Irish or something.
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember him at all. He was not really very good. At first when he was gone, I was like, oh, and then I was like, no, I don't miss him.
Well, there's too many characters.
Yeah.
And he was too similar to Hastings? Harrison? Yeah, so, I mean, there was sort of they had them both fulfilling the same role. They're the charming face man character, this sort of fast-talking guy, but...
I appreciate, though, that there's not the, straight white man steeped in privilege character on their little team anymore.
Right, yeah.
Because, Huck, but he's so, he has
super
some other
damaged
things going on.
Yeah.
And, it's stupid to have anyone in the show who is that character other than the president.
Yeah.
It's...
Yeah.
I think that makes it so much more interesting for it to just be the president that is that person, but then to see how flawed he is.
Yeah.
And people recognize that, right? They see the relationship between Olivia and the president and know that, it's terrible.
I don't know. This is one of the problems I have with the show. Okay, so just to fill in people who have no idea what the show is, Olivia Pope is a fixer, a media fixer. You have a problem, a scandal in the media, she fixes it for you. Generally as a spin doctor, but also maybe some more nefarious black ops kind of ways with her team, using unlikely hacking devices and and sort of her A-team of misfits. And
that's sort of one part of the show. The other part of the show is that she... worked on the president's campaign and helped him get elected, and there's all this White House shit that happens.
Yeah.
And they have an affair going on.
An affair that is very Edward and Bella, very, very 50 Shades.
Yeah.
So they have this very dysfunctional relationship, which kind of makes no sense to the other part of their show, the sort of the episodic weekly fix a scandal for somebody show, and one that's at a dynamics. And then they have this other, bonkers, kind of makes no sense to her character that she's established in this other half of the show. It's two shows that are going on, and it kind of...
I'd love to see how it was if they didn't have any of that White House stuff.
Yeah, I think it would have been a pretty good show.
And they could still have some arc stuff going on, the way Bones does, right?
Yeah, and it could be involve the president only without this really terrible... Because the problem is as they get into the storyline of like the vote rigging when they got that president elected, President Fitzgerald Grant, played by that guy that's not Rick from Walking Dead,
but is one of the bad guys from Ghost.
Is that they sort
Tony
of
Goldwyn, I think is his name.
So they set it up as his team, without his knowledge, rigs the election because he is this uniquely
America needs him.
America needs him because he's got a true soul. He is sincere there or something like that. They say
he's good and real
and sincere and authentic, except that they've already established that he's kind of a douchebag
and he's having an affair
with like zero morals, and he's kind of psychotic about the way he pursues her.
Totally psychotic. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing like, is that supposed to be romantic? That basically like half of the time they're like doing stuff together. It's pretty much non-consensual because
Yeah.
she's saying no.
She says no, 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 and then he goes yes, 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 and like pushes her against the wall, and then they bone. And she seems to be into it at that point, but it's still like pretty date rapey at best, if not just full on rapey. But
And then I feel like they set the show up in that like you're supposed to want them to get together.
he's so awful,
I
and
don't
she's
want
kind of
them to.
well, she's kind of awful too.
She's kind of awful too. Like I feel like she has some shit she needs to deal with on her own before she's,
Well, it's just like the setup of her team is that they're all somebody who has something in their past that she saved them from, some scandal or thing. And then this is supposed to have created this sense of loyalty to her, which is a super manipulative, evil thing for any human being to do to another group of human beings.
because theoretically you could hold that over them too.
Well, it seems to be that's the kind of the idea, but she's kind of brainwashed them into thinking that it's...
She's their savior.
Yeah, which is just like, well, that's so fucked up, this dynamic. As it goes through the series, we got to the end of episode 2 so far.
Season 2.
Or season 2, yeah.
A lot has happened in those first 2 episodes.
Season 2, and then she has them doing progressively dodgier, morally suspect things that they have deep problems with, and they don't know why they're doing them because she's been trying to keep, even from them, the voters rigging scandal.
And more
her,
so the affair.
And the affair. They're sort of blindly following her. And then every time they try to break free from this, as they should, because it's a sick relationship they have with her, somehow they get like sort of gaslighted into following her again. There's like a lot of interpersonal dynamics that are just horrific in the show, but they're painted in this way of being somehow positive.
Yeah. Which I think is ultimately what's wrong with most TV shows.
Yeah.
And then I think people don't think critically about them and think that that's how their life is supposed to be or what they're supposed to want in their life on some level. Like not to, work for Olivia Pope or whatever. But
yeah.
I don't know. Especially like I notice it with my students, but I notice it too like in talking to my students about things like that and then reflecting on myself and realizing how much I believed so much of that when you don't have anything else to compare it to, really.
Yeah.
Like that the love you see on TV is real and that kind of like weird, rapey, tortured romance is what you want.
And they did address that in one line in the show, and she's breaking up with her senator boyfriend and sort of saying that I want crazy tortured love and whatever, and I just don't have that with you, or what I have with you is good, but I'm drawn to this tortured romance thing. And he's like, that's not what love is. It's not what love should feel like. Mm-hmm. So like, okay, I guess they're aware of what they're writing. Okay, so we're supposed to see that she and the president have a dysfunctional relationship. That doesn't mean that this show makes any sense at all. Like what's the like? Are you?
But even when the show is aware of that,
yeah.
and I believe that the show is aware of it, and they're trying to show that it's terrible. I think people watching it don't see that though.
Well, it seems
in the same way that like when people watch Sex and the City and they thought that like, ooh, Carrie's so fashionable, or ooh, these people are role models.
Yeah, when they're supposed to be different types of flawed. I don't know.
Broken people, essentially.
Yeah, or if people watching Scandal are like, oh yeah, this is a terrible relationship, so like, why do you want to watch that? Like, I kind of tune out every time it's a scene with Olivia and Fitzgerald, because it's just like, well, they rehashed the same dialogue pretty much for like 2 seasons every time they get together.
Well, you never see anything between them that's like nothing of what you see between them is good. Like you don't see anything that makes you want them to be together or think that they should be together.
Or think that he should be a president. Like the part of the crux of the show is that he is this, there's all this sort of dodgy stuff in his background, or maybe he's kind of a bad guy romantically, but he's this great president and we have to keep him in the Oval Office because, and there's all these people like his chief of staff, you know, is psychotically trying to keep him in office and stuff. And it's sort of like, but not once have they ever shown, they tell all the time, oh, he's a great man, he's going to be the best president ever, we have to protect his legacy, but they never once have shown him do anything great as a president or great as a human being. He's always either shown as being weak and being manipulated by people,
or making bad choices,
or emotional choices. Or
I wonder if that's intentional though, right? Like even when people like to say, oh, look, this is he's so great, you know, we need him to be president. Like I think maybe that's, I don't know if it's intentional, but to show that like people do, you know, deify the president.
Who's just this guy.
He's just a guy.
He's just a figurehead.
He's just a guy.
Well, and I feel like it is sort of what they're doing, but they're not committing to that.
Well, and no one's going to pick up on that without a little bit more prompting because I think people just, you know, Americans and Canadians just buy that, ooh, it's the president kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, it's like the show makes sense if everybody just wants him to be in power because he's a puppet they can manipulate for their own reasons. Like Hollis, whatever his last name is. Hollis Doyle, the Texas oil magnate. He's pretty upfront about it.
Yeah.
But and then Cyrus kind of was sort of like, this is the closest I'll ever come to being president, so I want this guy who supposedly I have to keep reminding people that he's my best friend, even though they've never seemed to have any kind of friendship chemistry ever in the show. And then so every time he says it, he goes, oh, right, they're supposed to be friends, right? But so you get the sense that maybe he just wants to have a guy in power that can be close to.
Yeah.
An Iago character, basically, is what he is. And then the first lady, Melly, the same kind of thing. But they always sort of undercut that with them actually talking about it, seemingly, that they think he's a great president and they want him to be in office for himself. But it kind of only works if they don't, if they're more upfront about that, how they're all manipulating him. And then his character kind of makes sense as that, and his sort of shittiness.
Yeah.
As a human being and as a leader.
Well, but maybe they're saying that that's why, but that's not really why.
But it doesn't
then
seem
that's
like that.
Giving it too much credit.
Yeah, it's like they seem to be actually sincere about it.
Yeah. Well, I think the only person who, like, I think what would make it work is if the only person who was actually sincere about it is Olivia.
Yeah. And it's sort of like, why did she? She knows how bad. Well, I mean, there's the whole dynamic of being in a dysfunctional relationship and kind of being crazy.
I would buy that.
But,
and I would also buy that Cyrus was just sort of saying the things to her about him, you know, all the things about him to get her to get on board with Defiance.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean.
But I think it just needs to be a little bit more, well, I don't know. I was going to say it needs to be a little bit more obvious, but then at the same time, would we be saying that they just are spoon feeding it too much?
Yeah. Also, that might have a different view on it if hadn't seen House of Cards, which sort of does a lot of the same things, but I mean, so much better. I mean, legit well.
Well, yes and no. Like in the beginning, for sure.
Yeah.
But I feel like House of Cards is.
Oh, it's definitely gone off the rails, but it's even the bad subsequent to season 2 seasons, I think still kind of did that whole backroom Oval Office thing way better than Scandal ever attempts to do.
Well, I think it's because Scandal's trying to do too much at once.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem to have like a clear idea of what show it is.
And it's too bad because I think there's so much potential there.
Yeah.
But like they've made it a bit too complicated.
Yeah. Well, it's 2 shows. Yeah. You have the firm, the Olivia's firm, fixing firm, and then you have the White House stuff, which could each be their own show. Mm-hmm. There's like enough to work with on both sides, you know. Mm-hmm. I just like the ensemble team.
Yeah.
Half of the episodes.
Me too.
And some of Cyrus's stuff and the Oval Office stuff is
and
okay.
And I like the Cyrus and James stuff.
Yeah, his husband, who's a White House reporter. So you have this Machiavellian chief of staff who has a very liberal reporter for a husband creating problems for him. And yeah, it's good.
I'd like to see more flashbacks of them getting together.
I would like to see more even though I hate all the flashback episodes generally, I would like to see more flashbacks of all the characters showing us instead of telling us all the stuff that we're supposed to just believe about each character.
Right.
I feel like to do this episode really well, we should have watched like West Wing as well, so we could have a good compare and contrast.
Yeah, I've never watched The West Wing.
I never did it. I've never.
I don't think we have access to it anywhere anyway.
Yeah, I think it was on Netflix for a while. I'm kind of drawn, I guess, as the Canadian viewpoint, to watching Oval Office shows about a flawed, cynical take on the Oval Office.
Right.
Whereas The West Wing, I thought, was just more of a
check it out.
Check it out. Yeah, sort of. This is the government's good, and this is just sort of a behind the scenes look at it.
Although,
who knows?
Yeah, you don't really know if that's what it's like.
Yeah, because we've never watched it.
Yeah.
I just felt like it came at a time when...
Doesn't Rachel like The West Wing?
Probably.
She likes the politics.
She's a senator groupie, so...
Yeah. Well, maybe Rachel can tell us if we should watch it or not.
We'll
tell us to watch it.
Yeah.
Maybe she could say more than just yes or no.
Yeah.
Also, it's a moot point because it's not on Netflix. And that's all we do is watch Netflix.
Yeah.
And occasionally when there's nothing on Netflix, we'll force ourselves through a little more Deep Space Nine.
Oh, God. So bad.
It's so bad.
And just so people know, because they're like, oh, well, you haven't gotten to the good episodes yet then. We're in the middle of season 6. They're running out of time for it to start to get good.
Yeah, when are the last 3 episodes the good episodes? What are the good episodes?
I think we're watching what people consider, the fans consider the good episodes.
I
the
guess,
Dominion War
though,
stuff.
It's the first time that Star Trek did an arc.
Yeah, well, that is what I think what people like, and it's one of the first times that TV did an arc.
Yeah, it was the new thing on TV, but it isn't done well.
No,
it's not even as good as Battlestar Galactica.
I'd say it's not even as good as. Oh, I don't know.
You know, Huck reminds me of the Chief.
Yeah, he's like the Chief.
Yeah,
very similar looking dudes.
Yeah, I think just how they look, and maybe a little bit of their
their kind of
manner. Yeah,
broken, a good heart that's been kicked around.
What was the song people heard at Battlestar Galactica? All on the Watchtower?
Yeah.
Weird.
Wow, yeah, that show got really weird and bad, too.
Still better than Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, Deep Space Nine, I think it had a lot of potential, and it was in the first few seasons, which the fans, I guess, don't really like, but when it was just sort of Casablanca in space, where you had this outpost where all the different political intrigue figures would sort of come through, and
This makes me realize that I have no idea what the fuck happens in Casablanca.
Well, it's kind of like Deep Space Nine.
I thought it was a romance.
Well, it is.
Oh,
but it's a spy story.
Oh,
yeah.
Is that the one with Rosebud in it? No, that's Citizen Kane.
Spoiler alert!
It's not a spoiler unless you say what Rosebud is. It's a sled.
You just completely ruined the show for me.
I have not seen Citizen Kane. I don't know what it even means that it's a sled. I just know that Rosebud is a sled. And I know that Soylent Green is people.
Yeah. Wow, you're queen spoiler right now.
Bruce Willis is dead.
So there's so many irate listeners.
Jaws
now.
is actually a robot. You got any?
I don't think that's an actual spoiler in the movie.
I know you got to throw some fake ones in there just to keep people guessing.
Yeah. I was trying to think of one for Aliens, but there's no spoiler thing in Aliens really. There's no thing like, oh, I was ruined. Aliens was ruined for me because of I knew that Paul Reiser was bad.
I know. That's what I was gonna say too. I couldn't think of his name fast enough.
They establish him as being a douchey weasel as soon as he's on screen the first time. So
well, it's Paul Reiser.
Yeah.
Just when you see Paul Reiser in the credits, you're like, oh, that guy's gonna do something bad.
But I guess in 1986, that is not necessarily what you thought. Well, I guess it was actually before Mad About You. So I don't know. I
Well, I'm
I
not
can't
saying
remember
that you would
mine.
know that about Mad About You. It's just that
Yeah.
Paul Reiser gives you so much of that creepy bad
Yeah.
feeling. I just stopped watching Mad About You because of that. Because I was always
Yeah.
like, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna do?
Because
Ugh.
of aliens, though?
No, just because of Paul Reiser.
Because he's typecast that way, yeah.
No, not even because he's. I mean, he's typecast because he's like that. He just
That's
gives
what I
you.
mean, yeah.
He puts you on edge.
He's like the guy who plays the president in Scandal that way. You're just like...
Oh yeah.
That's the other thing, is like, I feel like what they're trying to do with it, they cast the wrong guy.
They cast the wrong guy.
Because, or maybe they didn't know where they're going to go with the story. Because at the beginning, you're kind of supposed to, I think, feel like he's kind of a bad guy. And then they reveal that, in fact, she's having an affair with him or something like this.
They're like, he's kind of a bad guy. But really, he's not the bad guy from Ghost. He's someone different.
But he just has that skidgy feeling about him.
Well,
and,
another thing I've just recently realized is that you can very clearly see the shape of his, like, ocular cavities.
Yeah, he looks a bit like a Cardassian.
And, like, it's creepy to look at
Yeah.
someone and be able to like, fully see their skull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's because he's a bit older than he looks, just like a president, I guess.
I guess so. Are they going to make him go gray eventually?
They
'Cause
should.
Isn't that the thing? Every president goes gray in office?
Yeah.
That's fucked up. That is a fucked up thing that happens.
Well, it's partially because of the age they are, because you have to be a certain age to even run for president.
Yes, but I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know.
I think it's also probably because they go gray just because they stop dyeing their hair. They're already going gray when they're running, but they have
maybe.
to seem young and vital. And then once they get in office,
They need to seem more.
yeah, they have more gravitas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'm sure Obama just stopped dyeing his hair.
Maybe.
Probably what
Although I
happened.
suppose, like, you know what you're saying, that point of life,
Yeah.
you're there for 8 years.
Yeah.
A lot happens in 8 years.
Yeah, because they're like 50 when they get elected. And that's, if you aren't graying already at 50, you're going to start pretty quick.
Hey, speaking of which, I cannot believe that Kerry Washington is as old as she is. She's a young looking, for her age, person.
Yeah.
Just like you and I. We're just like
Yeah.
Kerry Washington.
Which is kind of a problem.
Yeah. But at least she isn't actually just a really young person.
Well, yeah, because she's in between our ages. She's a little bit...
I think so, yeah.
Or, yeah, she's just a little bit younger than me, so she's like 40 now or something.
Kerry Marissa Washington is an American actress. Born January 31st, 1977, age 39. The daughter of Valerie Washington, a professor and educational consultant, and Earl Washington, a real estate broker. Height 5 feet 4 inches. Spouse Namvia Samoa, a former American football cornerback.
Which is the right age for the character.
Yeah.
I mean, the show started in 2011, I think, so she would have been 37-ish or
But
something.
still,
yeah.
like, for someone to just have come in and be like, you need me on this campaign,
Yeah.
like, that's, you know,
A good age.
yeah. Although, I don't know. I feel like I'd be too tired to do that.
Yeah. I think I never buy her completely when she's in Dragon Lady mode.
Yeah.
Or I do buy her as that, but then they have all these scenes where she's like, something minorly distressing happens, and she does that thing with her eyes and quivering chin.
And
where,
she has to go be in the corner and
yeah.
think about it.
And it's sort of like, if that's your reaction to like literally almost everything that ever happens in this show, how does that reconcile with you even wanting to be a fixer or whatever, you know? So it just doesn't make sense as a character, and not in a way that is like, oh, this is a complex rounded character. It's just sort of like, what the fuck's going on with this person? You can't have it both ways. She can't be this completely fragile, morally conflicted person and also be this cold, logical, fix the problem this way, consequences be damned person.
I mean, they want to show you that she's
Human, but she's too human, perhaps.
Is that the name of a show?
Too human?
Yeah.
Should be.
Or a movie or something.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this, how I got spoilered on this show.
All right.
So this is a spoiler.
Spoilers.
We were watching, and Buddy from Felicity, Scott Foley.
Oh, that's where he's from.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he's in something else, though,
Oh,
right?
he's in other stuff.
Because I recognize him. I never watched Felicity, so I didn't know him from that. I thought he was from Party of Five for some reason.
No, that's that other guy.
Those other
Scott.
guys.
His name's Scott too, though.
I didn't think it was that guy, but I
Oh.
thought he was one of another douchebag guy from that show.
Oh,
That
I
show
don't think he's
populated
on Party of
douchebags.
Five.
No, I don't think he was either. But
it's
yeah,
not the right time frame.
I guess he's a bit younger, eh?
I think so.
Yeah. At any rate, Scott Foley,
So yeah, he was meeting up with this dude, his like boss dude or whatever.
sort of uber CIA,
Yeah.
uber boss kind of guy.
Yeah, kind of older black guy, and I was like, oh man, I know that guy from something. What do I know him from?
He's the poor man Sidney Poitier.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Jesus.
poor man's versions of famous actors sort of cast in this.
Yes. Anyway, so I looked him
Yeah.
up on IMDb from the show, like from,
Yeah.
Scandal. And of course, you see his character name, which is like Rowan Pope. And I'm like, God damn it. It's Olivia's dad. Fuck. And like, that's not, I don't know. I mean, I've definitely been spoiled on IMDb before. Like,
Yeah.
you see how many episodes someone is in, or you
Yeah.
see something, but
Yeah, like
that, I don't think I've ever been spoiled quite like that before.
I did look up Scott Foley. I don't know how I already forgotten that he was in Felicity because I read that. But I saw that he was in 70 episodes. And I was like, oh, he's not going away. He seemed like a character that was just going to be for this season.
Yeah.
It was a sort of brief character arc, and he's probably going to die at the end of the season kind of thing.
Well, and even based on what's happened at the end of this season,
Yeah.
you kind of feel like he's not going to be around.
Yeah, like just like the English guy they got rid of after season 1, it's sort of like, oh, this character's done. But I know he's in for clearly the next 3 seasons based
Well,
on
it's
how
going
many
to be
episodes he's
interesting
in.
too when he gets out of the hole.
Spoilers.
Yeah,
How Olivia's going to feel.
right.
She's going to feel responsible.
Yeah, and well, I guess he and Huckle bond over that.
Well, likely.
Yeah.
What I really think would be great is if he comes out of the hole, joins their team, she falls in love with him because she feels guilty, and her and the president thing is never mentioned again.
Yeah, that would be nice. I do like how they've tacitly broken up over various.
I love how he's like, I forgive you for boning that guy. Do you forgive me for killing Vera? No, I don't. See ya.
Which is pretty rich coming from her. Like, she is like basically told Huck. I guess she tells Huck not to kill people, but she's basically like told Huck to kill people several times.
Yeah, she has.
Yeah.
For sure she has.
It's sort of like, you what?
Yeah.
Have the writers forgotten all of season 1? What's going on?
Yeah.
You guys have no idea where you're steering the ship, do you? It's like the thing.
I'm not on top of all of this, though. We're going to keep watching it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing I like about the show is it is slowly. It started off kind of bad, and it's slowly veering towards like True Blood, spectacularly bad. And I feel like at some point it's going to become self-aware of how bad it is, and they're just going
go
to
with
exploit,
it.
and then it's going to become like just such
Like a caricature of itself.
Yeah, it's going to become a spectacular shit show like Bones.
I loved when True Blood got crazy like that.
Yeah,
Everything from season 3 on is
Yeah.
mwah,
yeah,
terrible.
terrible, but spectacularly, brilliantly, like so committed to being terrible.
So good, so good. Season 2 is so bad.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to watch season 2 again with the knowing what I know now. Like, I wonder
Right.
if maybe it wasn't so much that True Blood was transitioning during season 2, but it was like we were being transitioned to the spectacularly bad, crazy times.
Maybe it was already spectacularly bad in season 2, and but we need to be season 2 to condition us to really embrace it for season 3.
Yeah,
We're like, oh, this is not a good show.
because like
Yeah.
there's a lot of crazy, batshit, fucking crazy shit that happens in
Yeah.
season 2.
I think at the time what we decided when we watched season 3 was like season 2, those batshit crazy stuff that was happening and they're doing it in a serious way. But in season 3 and onwards, batshit crazy stuff happens and they're not serious about it at all.
Well, that was how I felt, but I'd be
Yeah.
interested to see
Yeah.
if that's
So-
the case or not still.
And I hope that's what happens with Scandal is that they just take it to crazy land because it's kind of teetering on like the later seasons of Bones, which are like, it's in season 10 or whatever, and it's like, we used to love this show because of the ensemble and blah blah, and it was always bad. We always knew it was bad. And it was this kind of like this sort of spray cheese kind of TV that you know is bad, but you still enjoy it. And Scandal is definitely in that.
cheese.
It's definitely spray cheese. But it's either going to just go like shitty like that last season of Bones that we only watched because we're so invested in the show.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing redeeming about it at all. Is Scandal going to go shitty Bones, or is it going to go brilliant?
Shitty Bones.
Brilliant True Blood shittiness. Like, which kind of shitty is it going to be?
I don't know. I'll
It's
have
not,
to wait and see.
because it's not going to go to like season 1 House of Cards. That's not going to happen. It's not going to go to like.
I don't
even-
want it to, though.
No, it would be a really jarring transition
It
for us.
couldn't. It couldn't. One thing, though, like that whole thing where David Rosen played Billy Chambers and
Yeah.
like did all of that stuff.
That was pretty good.
I just wish that they just spent a little bit more time on it, because I feel like it was like blank, 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 blank. This is done.
It was essentially a 3-episode arc done in half an episode.
Well,
The
and it
second
was
half
like
of an episode.
the reveal about it was like
Like-
it was a montage.
Yeah.
It was like wearing a wire, doing this, getting this, getting this.
Yeah.
It's like, what the?
It's kind of funny. There's certain characters in the show that I wish the show was about. Like David Rosen is a pretty good character, pretty compelling. Huck, very much so. Like we've said it before. It's like, oh, I wish the show was just about Huck,
Yeah.
who is the sort of the Black Ops guy that she is.
I'm a little worried about what's going to happen with him and Lindsay since her enthusiasm.
Yeah, and I didn't like Lindsay in the first season, but
Yeah.
in season 2, she sort of as a Huck protege,
I like that.
learning how to be a spy, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the Charlie thing. I like the Huck Charlie kind of dynamic.
Wait a minute. Why did they think that Buddy, the head of the CIA, was
Right.
the mole in the first place?
The one that got killed.
Yeah.
He had files that were planted on his phone or something. I don't know. I can't remember exactly why, but they had proof. They had proof that
But they were wrong, though.
they were wrong.
But was it something that...
Money trail or something like that. The money trail saw they figured out it wasn't him in the end.
Yeah. Or was it some...
Because he was.
It
I
doesn't
think
matter.
the why they thought it was him was not really that important.
Well,
It was
no, I'm just
kinda,
thinking about it now and wondering.
Yeah.
You
But
don't tell me what's important and not important to me. You don't tell me that.
It's the other thing about the show is the constant. Here's this thing that is true, and then next episode, nah,
Well,
it's not true. It's this other guy, and it's sort of like
That's
every
the thing,
time
too, because you're supposed to believe in Olivia's gut so much, and it's
right.
fucking wrong all the time.
been wrong for 2 seasons.
It's a
every single
it's a plot
time.
drivingly wrong gut.
Which is, it's kind of the same thing, yeah. Like, she's supposed to have this, like, amazing intuition for sussing out the truth or something like that. And it's the same thing as, like, Fitzgerald's supposed to be this amazing politician or leader. And sort of, like, you're told both these things, but you're never shown it at all. And as sort of a Shakespearean tragedy, it kind of works. It kind of makes sense. Like, the people at the top aren't what they seem, kind of thing. But it's also, because it's such a spray cheese show, you're like, are they trying to do that? Is the show self-aware and smart enough to be doing that? Because I'm not
They're
buying
telling
that they
you
are.
you're supposed to believe this one thing
Yeah.
about people. They're saying
Yeah.
this person is this person
Yeah.
is this, but then that is not how that person behaves at all.
Yeah, or even seems to have the ability to be that at some point in the past. Like, you're not like, oh yeah, no, I could see how Olivia was this really, great fixer with this unassailable gut feeling. But you're just like, I don't really buy it that she ever was.
And at what point did she get this, like, because it seems like she hasn't been gone from the White House for very long.
Yeah.
So how did she build this reputation as, like, this is the person you go to get fixed?
Because in the backstories, it's sort of like she's come from nowhere.
Yeah.
Well, I guess she's Cyrus's protege.
Yeah, I guess.
But it seems like she hasn't. But they never show, where she's established her own.
Is it this show where somebody's like... No, I think that might have been a different show.
It's probably House of Cards.
No, or so... Oh, yeah.
Sometimes
yeah, it
I'm
might be
like-
House of Cards.
Sometimes we'll be watching a scene and I'll be like, oh, what's Doug Stamper going to do about this? And Doug's not in the show.
Because it wasn't this show where somebody was like in their office and somebody came in and was like, had a gun and was like pointing the gun at them and saying, you're not going to do this anymore or something. I think it was
maybe.
House of Cards.
Oh, yeah, I think that does.
It was
Doug,
like dark. I think it was Doug.
yeah, Doug did that.
Yeah. There's an elevator.
Yeah. sometimes I'll have like flashback memories of it, and I'll be confused. I'm like, well, why are they doing this? Because they've already solved this problem on House of Cards, not on this show.
I mean, it's better than House of Cards in a lot of ways, and not in others.
Yeah, it's sort of
Like, if you could have a transporter accident between this show and House of Cards, and 2 shows would come out of it,
yeah,
I think that would be better. Like, if House of Cards could be not just white people,
yeah.
that would be better.
I kind of like that about House of Cards in a way, like not.
Oh, just because they're evil white people?
Yeah, and they screw over black people all the time. I think it's kind of more realistic than Scandal, probably as a snapshot of America and how America works. But it's hard to say. I mean, they have black presidents, so I guess.
Which I was talking to some people about at some point,
Yeah.
and I was like saying something about the president being black and what that means from a
sociological kind of.
yeah. And then the person laughed and was like, "Yeah, a lot of black people don't think he's black." And I was like, "Okay." I mean, it's an interesting perspective.
Well, he's certainly upper middle class. Like, there's probably a great deal of the American black population can't relate to him because he's not from their world. He's from
No.
the same way that
the same way that
Trump
poor
supporters
white people,
should not be able to relate to Trump, but they do.
Yeah, I was in the moment, I was pretty shocked by that comment, and not shocked, but like I didn't know how to respectfully ask for more information. Like, can tell me more about that, or what do you mean? So I don't really know.
Was it a person of color you're talking to? Yeah.
But it's something that I've sort of thought about, right?
Yeah.
Like, and as much as I'm sure that that's true, that he doesn't seem black or isn't black to lots of black Americans and black people around the world.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's better that he's. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I can't speak about this because I'm.
I think it's interesting that like blackness is so tied to a socioeconomic identity.
The media has worked very, very hard to make it so.
Yeah. No, I mean, no fault of anybody who thinks that, but it's interesting that.
And a very specific cultural identity too.
Yeah.
And like that whole idea that, being black isn't just about your skin, but how you behave, and that whole idea that like you can be black on the outside and white on the inside.
Right.
Which I think is that idea is not one that's held by white people. That idea is like you're a traitor.
Or you can be like Eminem, white on the outside, black on the inside, because he came from the same
Eminem
streets.
isn't black on the inside. What?
I think that's how he's sold, though.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, he comes from the same socioeconomic situation.
Yeah, but I don't think you can't compare being poor and black to being poor and white.
No.
Because there's not the same sort of like threat hanging over you if you're poor and white as there is if you're poor and black. Like, it's still shitty.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can compare them.
I'm certainly not defending Eminem.
I don't think he needs to be defended or supported or whatever.
No.
He's just another rich white guy.
Another rich white sociopath.
I don't think I know enough about Eminem to say whether or not he's a sociopath.
Garbage human being, at least.
Yeah, it seems that like that's true.
Yeah.
Just based on lyrics.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is a typical Nerd Turtles treatment that we do with every show.
Yeah.
Kill, marry, fuck.
Oh, yes.
Usually we just say who would you sleep with, but I feel like let's play kill, marry, fuck.
Okay, so who's going to go first?
I don't know. Let's just do kill first.
Well, I'm supposed to give you 3 people.
I know, but let's just pick from everybody in the show and pick kill, marry, fuck.
Oh, okay, so who would we kill? Like, out of everybody in the show, who has to go?
Yeah.
Who has to go?
Oh, it's interesting. Like, am I picking as someone in the show, like, based on who I think is a bad person, or am I picking, like, just who bothers me and I just want them to die?
Well, you can go with that. That'll say something about your character.
Well, I want Hollis Doyle to die.
Oh, yeah, it kind of seems strange to me that he has not been killed.
Yeah. I liked that thing they did to him, though, like, that episode where they humanized him by getting his daughter to screw him over.
Yeah.
That was pretty well done.
It was well done, but also contrived, and sort of like, it was sort of like, why are you even bothering doing this with this character?
Because
I don't know.
I think he needed to be in the show a little bit more. You needed a little more Hollis Doyle.
But unless there's going to be some point where I feel like this is the thing they always do is like with every single character is like if you think they're good, they turn out to be bad. If you think they're bad, then they'll have them be good. And so next season, Hollis Doyle is going to be a good guy.
But nobody's bad and nobody's good.
But
they're all just like conflicted, shitty people, like everybody.
Well, that's because they make them flip flop. So then you know that they're conflicted.
Well,
You know, if they didn't flip flop, then they'd just be these 2-dimensional good or bad characters.
Well, so are you saying that that's a positive thing about the show, or is it an indictment of the show?
I think because they do it so...
It's contrived the way they do it.
Contrived and sloppy the way they do. Or not sloppy, but just like simplistic the way they do it.
Well, it's ham-fisted in because they're trying to do so much in every episode.
Yeah, and they're trying to... But I also think it's like they're trying the shorthand for like character depth is to just have them...
What's a ham fist?
I think it's like...
I always picture like a whole ham on the end of someone's arm.
Well, I think that's the idea, that you can't really do something...
If you have a ham fist.
You have no dexterity with
my
it.
ham fist. All I can do is mash things with my ham fists.
Exactly, and that's the kind of... They're basically like mashing character traits into these characters.
They need a dialing wand.
Yeah. Hollis or I guess Olivia's dad. That guy seems like a bit of a shit-disturbing asshole.
Yeah.
But, whatever. He's going to turn out to be a good guy,
But
I'm
just
sure.
in life, if I had to kill somebody, like, who annoys me in the show.
Yeah. I'd kind of kill the redhead.
She's annoying.
And, like, it's like you're supposed to kind of like her, but she's just shitty.
Well, the reason I didn't want to say her is because what ideas about women are informing my annoyance of her or by her.
Right.
And is it my own sort of internalized sexism that makes me want her to die?
I think it's her own internalized sexism that kind of makes me want her to die.
Maybe. Or how she's being written.
Yeah. I mean, she's actually one of the more interesting characters, and the actress is actually portraying it fairly well. Like, she's got some chops, and she's giving the character some actual life.
I suppose it's a credit to her performance that I want her to die.
Yeah, and sometimes you really do like her. Sometimes you're just like, why are you being so shrill? And then you're like, oh, I don't want to think of a woman as being shrill because that's horribly misogynist. So it's All
right, we'll kill her. No, that was the first person I thought of.
Oh, okay. I'd totally forgotten about the existence of Hollis. I'd kind of go with
I only want to kill him in the thing. Like, I don't really, because he's not much of a character, I don't really care one way or the other.
I think I might actually go with Fitz, killing Fitz.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's just such a wet... He doesn't bring anything to the table as
he's
a human
awful,
being.
it's true. Let's kill him.
He's pretty rapey. Okay, so Mary?
Yeah, well, I'm going to marry Huck.
It's not a happy marriage you're going to have.
I know. Oh, no. David Rosen would be okay to marry.
I think David Rosen's probably the most quality human being on the show.
Yeah.
Something a bit like irritating about him, but he's the only person who genuinely seems to be actually good.
Or just like reasonably normal.
Yeah, he's the only one who seems to have any kind of integrity. That's the word that they always use about Fitz, about him having integrity and having honest integrity. And it's like, no, you from the beginning you've shown him to have actually no integrity. That's his character from the beginning, is the guy with no integrity. And this is why you want him to be president, because he has this trait that he doesn't actually encompass at all.
Right.
He's a rapey douchebag. It's, and he manipulates his wife in a horrible way, who's in his defense is manipulating him in a horrible way. But okay. Yeah, no, David Rosen would be the Mary. Yeah.
Hey, do you remember how we put integrity in our wedding vows?
Oh, yeah.
We like integrity. Yeah. That's why we'll marry David Rosen.
Yeah.
And fuck, I don't know. I don't want to have sex with anyone on that show.
No. I'd probably also go with the redhead.
There's a fine line between killing and fucking.
Which is really in keeping with the show. That's
yeah.
No, there's not too many people on the show that are genuinely attractive. Definitely not Jake, the Scott Foley character.
Ooh. Olivia's not.
No,
she's too.
She gives me the icks.
Well, I feel like the show, everything happens so fast. Like, it doesn't really seem like you get a chance to anybody have like feelings or any kind of like depth to them.
And I guess David Rose and why can't we remember her name?
I don't know.
Gracie?
Ellie?
Abby Whelan is a firm's crack investigator. Indomitable and always willing to star, Abby takes her work seriously and never suffers fools. She also hates Republicans and likes baking. In fact, she uses baking as a way to settle her nerves after long days dealing with the viper's nest that is Washington, D.C.
Between her and David Rosen, that was the only kind of relationship that you actually felt like these people might actually care about each other.
Yeah.
So I think that it would be the reason why she seems like somebody that you would actually
We know enough about her to like want to kill her and to want to fuck her.
Yeah.
But she's too annoying to marry.
Oh, definitely. Well, she's batshit crazy.
Yeah.
She's like definitely like PTSD scarred and acts that way.
As long as you could get her into that place where she was like obsessively baking.
Yeah,
that would be it's a redeeming quality.
They just forgot about that. Like, shouldn't every couple episodes she be bringing baking in to the office?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Like why establish that?
Her and Charlie should get together.
Yeah. Is Charlie dead? No, Charlie's not dead. Charlie's just in the wind.
He's in the wind.
Right. Yeah, maybe she and Charlie will get together.
I don't
That
think
could
so.
happen in this show.
It could happen in the show. God.
All right. That's our Scandalous episode.
Wow.
About Scandal.
People are like totally not killable, not marryable, and not fuckable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel passionately about any of those choices.
Which I guess is kind of the main failing of the shows. You kind of like...
I think if I was just picking, like, Harrison is an attractive man, he'd be, I guess, a good choice for fucking.
I think he's the worst. He might actually be killable.
Because he's a whiny bitch.
And he's just like, he has this like crazy, shitty, I guess, sort of military.
Well, he excuses everything and everyone and everything he does by saying gladiators in suits.
Yeah.
Like it's his tagline.
Yeah, and his character sort of motto, and it's just like...
And what do gladiators even do? Like, not really what they do. Like, it's a bad comparison.
Yeah, it's like they set him up on the first episode. He's like one of the first characters you see, and that's his speech, and then that's been his character the entire time.
That's all he has.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, he has no...
He's due for some backstory.
Yeah.
Because he is nothing.
Yeah.
He has no dimension to him.
Yeah. Also, I find his fast talking irritating. Makes me want to kill him.
Nerd hurdles.
Here's a further appeal for you. I need supporters for this website. This simplysyndicated.com thing, this podcast network you've been listening to. We don't have ads, you see, but it takes money to run this and keep me willing to do it and all that kind of stuff. Because I have to buy food and shit, in that order. So I need you to go to simplysyndicated.com/everything and sign up to support us with just £6 a month, which is incredible. We appreciate it so much. It's awesome, you guys that already do it, and we, need every little bit we can get to help us out. So if you go there, simplysyndicated.com/everything, it's £6 a month to support us, and you get simply everything in return, which is our entire back catalogue of sort of 11 years worth of shows and exclusive content. Alternatively, we've got a Patreon, which is patreon.com/simplysyndicated. That's a $3 a month support donation, and I've been posting some exclusive content on there as well. So that's might be more up your alley. Or failing that, we actually just have a PayPal button where you can give us a little tip, throw us something in the jar, so to speak. And you'll find the link to that at the bottom of simplysyndicated.com. Right at the bottom. Just scroll down. It's there. There it is. Okay.
Welcome to Nerd Hurdles.
The boringest podcast that ever existed. You have a hair in your face. Yep, you knew. Oh, it's still there. Go like this.
Anastasia and Steele, kind of Christian's.
Anastasia and Steele are the same person.
Yeah. Anastasia.
Edward and Bella.
Very Edward and Bella, very 50 Shades.
Yeah, Christian and Anastasia. Steel and Gray.
Yeah,
Gray, Steel. Boom.
Gray Steel's a pretty good name.
Write it down.